Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk, out here in the lab in the wee hours of the morning with nothing to do but try to put something together to enlighten you. I think I got a good one for you today. Let's do what we do. Rightism, 25 rules live by storytelling, story with a message. That's in the story for life. Oh, I'm in the book. I'm teaching. Let's do this. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment, being your best self. Right Thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual disciplines daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission. As the right thinking master, I want all my right thinkers to know themselves. That's my goal. Let's go. My mission. Know not self is the creative mantra for all right thinkers. So that means you need to know yourself. So I'm gonna help you with that. That's what I do for you daily. Let's go. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is just foolish, not a right thinker. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not. I'm one of them at a certain point. With anything outside of my philosophical points of view, I'm somebody who's simple. Why? I know what I don't know. So they simple. What happened? You teach them. That's what I do for you. Stay tuned. I got you. I appreciate you too. A person who knows not. There's a lot of this going on. And believe or think that they know because they may know a little bit. We know how we do, snatch and grab, running. Think they got something. It amounts to nothing. So understand that. Get the whole story. Get the complete loaf. Don't get half a loaf. Don't get a quarter loaf. Don't get 3/4. Get the whole loaf. Get the whole lesson, so to speak. How about that? So a person who knows not and believe think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows, but knows not that they know is asleep spiritually. It's okay. I'm the spiritual alarm clock. I'm here to wake them up with knowledge of self. That's what I do. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right? They could know that self. And to my eye, be true. We doing my girl. We from the book again. My book is falling apart, but that's because it's being you again. We doing Nebethet. Okay? The goddess Nebethet. I had it in the other book, but it was a little lengthy and a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't particularly care for. I'm a meat and potatoes man. I don't need a whole bunch of fluff. I don't need a whole bunch of unusual information that I really don't need. But when you write the book, you do that. I got to do with that. But I figured this breaks it down a little more simpler. So it's only 2 pages of information. The other one had like a whole lot of stuff. So you know how we do. Let's go. The goddess Nebethet. The name Nebethet means mistress of the house. Nebethet is the twin sister of us, or twin sister of us, Set, and the sister of Asar and Set. She represents what? The gross, listen, the gross aspect of nature. Here we go. This I try to give you. These are all aspects of your character, but also in nature to show you how they operate, show you the purpose and the reason behind it. And if you understood it, then you can implement it and use it. I know nature, so I'm from verse with Nebethet. Let's go. She represents the gross aspect of what? Nature. And the natural phase of life called death. Nature, worldly consciousness, meaning and death. Nature is what nature is what the spirit impregnates with life-giving essence. Story goes that looks just like I said. Asar comes home, little few too many to drink. But that comes in, they make love, she get pregnant, he got a son, a bastard son as they call it now, but back then the concept was you put in spirit with nature. That gives you discernment. That's Anubis, or we know him as Anubis. That's Ampu. He represents your ability to discern right from wrong, true from untrue, real from unreal. So that's the aspect of your character that you have to have, and they put it together so that nature and spirit came together. The offspring is Ampu. Discernment. Nature, excuse me, nature can't hook up with ego. Why? Ego is set. Nephthys and Set, husband and wife, mates. They didn't create nothing. Why? The rule is the ego can't procreate. Okay? He was the original erectile dysfunction. Another story. But yeah, that's the concept. But what they're telling you here is since Nephet represents nature, Asar represents the spirit. It got nature looking good. Again, the senses, and he got caught up. Okay. No excuse, man. Don't you Asar did it. No, it don't make a difference. Okay, so watch this. They're saying to you is therefore nature, Nephet, is what? The recipient of Asar seed spirit. According to nature law, natural law, excuse me, anything that is born must be subject to the laws of nature and ultimately die. It's going to regenerate. We know how nature go. Right now, the trees is green, everything is cool, but guess what? We just hit September 21st. We're going to the final equinox. The winter equinox is about to be start getting a little red. First they get red, then brown, then they get brittle, and they pass away. Why? To regenerate again in the season. That's nature. We understand that. So it's conception about human beings too. Watch this. Now, in our original form, detached from nature, Asar was what? Timeless, immortal, and untouched by what? The passions and the frailties of what? Human nature. Spirit in the physical form will get intoxicated with nature. That's human nature. Again, as in watch this. Now, when in a human, excuse me, as an incarnation of the divine, which is what Asar is in the physical form, became intoxicated with what? Nature. Sorry about that, but this is what I do. Now, his own creation, which is really God, watch this, in human form, falls in love with himself and associated with what? It through intercourse physically with Nephet. And in the myth of the Asarian resurrection, the sexual union between Nephet and Asar produced, I just told you, Ampu. You know him as Anubis. Okay? That's discernment. They're giving you life action to show you a concept. I love it. Why? Because it's understood it. It makes a lot of sense, and I do. So I'm trying to present it that way so it can make sense to you. So that's what teaching is about. I can take a concept that makes sense to me. Some stuff I can teach. Some stuff I just know. So I leave the stuff that I know to know. I just stuff that I can teach, and I do that. So that's why I do it. Asar, watch this, as a symbol of what the human soul is the stark example of what the fate of human existence. We gotta go through this. The spirit is in human form. It don't know it's God. Again, we're unconscious of who we are. That's why the phrase "know thyself" is the key. It's always a simple but complicated concept. And know thyself is simple and basic, but it covers a whole lot of stuff. That's my point. In his situation, watch this, embodies the predicament of what? Every individual human being. Meaning, this is the story of life. If you can understand it, it's the myth is the story. The ritual is the practice and understand it. And then the mystical part is, aha, yeah. This is why the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and all initiates into what? The mystery of Asar are referred to Asar and Haru and are considered to be what? The daughter or the son of Aset. Every human being assumes the role of Haru. I keep telling you that. That's who you want to be. Haru. That's you, the hero of your father who got taken out, and you're going to avenge him by being a better you. He fell a little short. Okay, it's okay. We picked up, redeemed him. Now, Haru, aka the champion, and once the battle of life, that's what this is about. I love it. Is won, and the body ceases to function. The initiate now becomes Asar. He is the ruler of the afterlife. That's where you want to go. Why? Because he's going to be there for eternity. When you get to him, you reached eternity. Hope you understand this. I know you are, my man. But watch this. Now, just as a star became what? Intoxicated with his own creation. Again, the essence of him is God. So the physical part fell in love with the physical world. So too the human soul becomes when the human soul becomes what? Involved with what? Nature. That's what they try to explain to you, this story, life story. And thereby what? Produces a astral body, which is your ka. The cat, the physical body, that's the ka. But it now has a subtle part, which is composed of subtle elements, and from the astral body, watch this, the ka, the ba is the spiritual part, the ka is the physical. That's what you're working on in the physical body. And watch this, is also produced, composed of what? An aggregate of what? Gross physical elements. We made up of water, earth, fire, air. Okay, the elements. That's what we have. The spirit is what we have to give us life. All the other stuff is sustain us. Aspects that he already took care of before we got here. Another lesson. But that's the creation story. Break it down real easy for you. But watch this. Now with all those elements which exist within what? Shu, ether, or space, we know it as air. In this capacity, now that represents what? The lower nature, the female aspect of the lower nature, which is just nature. Okay? And it looks good. That's why Asar got intoxicated. Watch this. She recommends the lower nature of what? Matter, physical body, or the bonding, fettering, and condensing aspect, which dulls the intellect and intoxicates the mind and senses. The physical world is the devil's domain. If your ego, which is set, gets to have his way, you're going to remain here. If Haru don't come in and give you your wings and become conscious of who you are, knowing thyself, that's the name of the game. So let me go on and get this thing done. There is deep mystical symbolisms, what, in the images and the teachings surrounding the triad of Asar, Aset, and Nepthat. Mm-hmm. Man and two women, American dream. And he had both of them. He got kids, both of them. But watch this. The symbology of it is beautiful. But if you get the perverted version, yeah, that's what you could think of the nonsense. But what the symbology is beautiful. Watch this, and they're gonna take you there. Watch this. The triad, Aset, Asar, Aset, and Nephthys, in the temples of Dandra, excuse me, the Jebel and Edfu, and the Philae, they are all special sculptured representations of what? The mysteries of Asar. They show the Asar initiate lying on the ritual bed, and Aset and Nephthys, the two widows who stand nearby, being referred to as the two widows. Something that Momelda had. All you guys, that side chick, when you die, you got two widows. Again, that's the perverted side. The real deal is they both loved him. And watch this. Of the dead Asar. Aset and Nepthat are depicted, watch this, as looking exactly alike. No difference. The only difference, here you go, being what? Their headdress. So Aset wears the throne, Nepthat was the inverted throne. Okay, or however, the symbols of these goddesses are what? In reality, just inverted images of each other. You got nature, you got immortality. They know their position, they go together. Okay, like the yin and the yang. Nephthys means what? All encompassing physical domain here, earth, in the physical area. Therefore, each is a reflection of the other. So Aset symbolizes what? The subtler spiritual essence of existence, while Nepthat symbolizes the material substance of existence. Two aspects of the same reality. Thus, it can be said that, watch this, both life and death are aspects of the same principle, and they are engendered by what? The same spirit. So, life and death, nature, impregnated, you become an of who? Discernment, wisdom, knowledge, and higher aspirations. With wisdom, Haru. Get it? The body, watch this, and the facial features of a set and that are exactly like. This likeness, watch this, which our set and that share is important. It's a reason, especially when they are related to Asar. As Asar sits on the throne, the two goddesses stand behind him. A set and that supports him. Symbolically, Asar represents the spirit, excuse me, the supreme soul, which is the body, the spirit in the body. So him as Asar. You see, he don't do nothing. Every time you see him, he's always mummified. Okay, he don't do jack. Right? So the all-encompassing divinity, watch this, which transcends time and space, which Asar's spirit is. Aset represents wisdom and enlightenment, aka higher consciousness. She is the knower of all words of power, Heka, and has the power to what? Resurrect, you bring from the dead back to life. She brought Asar back to life to create Haru. And when Haru got bitten by the scorpions that Set sent to kill him, she brought him back to life by calling God, stopping the world. Okay? Everything ceased. Stop. When a mother child is dead or in danger, everything ceased. And she showed the power. That's the concept. Watch this. Now, Nebethet, the power to what? Resurrect Asar and Haru. Nebethet represents, temporal consciousness, meaning here for a while, or awareness of what? Time and space while here on earth. And it relates to what? Mortal, worldly, physical existence, life, and mortal what? Death. If you're born, we're going to die physically. The spirit wasn't born, so it's not going to die. It's just going to shift on over. Energy can't die. That's what we are, pure energy. We're conscious in the physical body, we become human beings. So this symbolizing, watch this, this symbolism is what is evident in what the systems which watch bear the likeness of Aset on one side and Nebethet on the other. The writings of Plutarch, the Greek writer, where he says that Aset represents generation, procreation, while Nebethet represents what? Chaos and dissolution, death. If you messing with Nebethet, you dealing with death. You playing with fire, okay? Also, watch this in the hieroglyphic. Ask Asar, he knows. Also in the hieroglyphic text, Aset is referred to as what? Day. Neptune represents night. So Aset represents day. Also, knowledge represents Aset represents ignorance. So if you stuck on the earthly plane, that's what's going to happen. You're going to be you dealing with Set and Aset. Aset and Neptune. Aset represents the things that what are, and Neptune represents the things which will come to an end, being and then dying. You're going to be born and you're going to die. That's the nature. That's what Neptune represents. So the spirit got involved and made discernment. Watch this. Another aspect of your character that you need. Thus, watch this. The state of spiritual enlightenment is what being referred to here as Aset. And it is this enlightened state of mind which the initiate, right thing is you, in the Asarian mysteries, Asar Shita has the goal what? The enlightenment of Asar is the ideal state of consciousness and which one is aware of the transient aspect of creation, which is Nephet. He knew very well, and as well as the transcendental aspects of creation of Aset. He had to taste a little bit of both nature and mortality. Okay? Excuse me. That's what the spirit will indulge in. Here you go. Now, Aset represents what? The transcendental aspect of matter. That is matter when what? Seen through the eyes of wisdom rather than through the illusions produced by who? The ego. So, an enlightened personality is endowed with what? Dual consciousness to become one with Asar. It means to attain the consciousness of Asar to become aware of the transcendental, infinite, and immortal nature of who? Aset, while also being aware of the temporal and fleeting human nature of Nebethet. Get it? I'm gonna keep going. I got another half a page. I'm gonna get through this. Why? Nebethet. So Nebethet is the goddess of the house, just as what women in excuse me, women is the goddess of her home. Men, if you're married, you think you're the boss? No, don't even think. Why? That woman is running the house. If you don't submit to that, you're gonna have fetters, problems that you causing yourself. So give her due respect. Fellas, I'm not that male chauvinist. No, we are equal, opposite but equals. You do your thing, I do my thing. Together, we make it work. Like the yin and the yang. So it shouldn't be, oh, who's the, no, no, no. It's got to work together. Come on. But that, watch this. House is what? The world of time and space with and more to existence. She is the one who facilitates what? The death of Asar. Pretty much. Because, okay, quick story when he had sex with that his brother Set kind of upset. If your wife get pregnant by your brother, death is imminent. Another story, but that's cost him his life. All right, but it's all symbolic. So watch this. Now, she's the one that facilitates the death of Asar and thus propelled him where? On the path to becoming the king of what? The dead. She made him the king of the dead in the afterlife. A set made him king of the living and immortal, okay? Immortality in this life. Love the concept. Now, along with Aset, she is Asar's most devoted supporter, and she loves him dearly. In the same manner, she lovingly provides what? Mortal bodies and death for all human beings. You can't get around it. Which is their pathway to what? Spiritual evolution and enlightenment. For without bodies, spiritual evolution cannot occur. The spirit needs a body. That's what they tell you. So that is mandatory because she's the body bringer. Watch this. And cannot occur without death. Nothing would change or transform. If everything was just going, it would never stop. So there's a limit. That represents nature of life and death. Nepthat is associated with death, decay, darkness, okay, finiteness, mortality, and the contraction as well as the physical love, the voluptuousness of nature, worldly sexual desires, and physical existence, and the physical what? Death. All that's part of life. You're going to experience that. You're here to do just that. The idea is to get past it. Some of us get stuck on this and they don't get past it, so the spirit goes to another body and hope they can become conscious. Watch this. Now, the epitaphs from the ancient Egyptian texts are confirmed by the Greeks, again, initiate of the Egyptian mysteries. They came and learned. Plutarch, again, yet this is not a death that means an end to existence. We had what they call the afterlife. So death, in order to get to heaven, everybody wants to go to heaven, but there's a criteria there. You gotta die. And if you haven't done the things here, you won't get there. You're gonna die. But if you ain't do the things, you won't get there. So the Egyptians had that concept, live Maya, and that's the whole kicker, the concept, how to pass this existence. Watch this. But rather the death to what? The death is not means the end of existence, but physical world, but rather the death to worldliness, limitations, egoism, and what? Ignorance will die. It won't get past the test of the heart, and it's going to fail, so it won't go no further. Thus, watch this. Now, in the pyramid text, it was said that Nephet is what? The friend of the deceased. Nebethet is also known as what? The Nebkat, which means lady of the bodies, because she was the fashioner of the physical bodies of the god and goddesses. You see Kunam on the potter's wheel fashion the body. He was giving them the spirit in them. She was the body producer, okay? So get to understand. That's why they call her the fashioner of the bodies, the physical body. Watch this. that were brought into existence, okay, by who? Ra. And guess what? Gold is the flesh of the gods and the goddesses. This gold thing here, that sun up in the sky, that represents royalty and it represents the god and goddesses. They walked around looking like gold. Okay. Netarianism, watch this, philosophy, right thing philosophy, holds that the god and goddess are incarnations of what? The golden sun. Therefore, gold is a sacred substance. And so the images of the divinities are either made of gold or covered in gold. All the masks, Tutankhamun masks, gold. All the facial, gold. Okay, gold represents the sun. Let's go. I'm gonna wrap this up. Now, as a serpent goddess, here what she was. She was the serpent goddess. Remember, the Caduceus, the two sisters, Nephthys and Isis. That's Nephthys and Aset. As a serpent goddess, watch this. With her sister Aset, they both form a dual serpent, but they're joined like this. On each end is a serpent. I got a picture of it somewhere, but that's what it looks like. They together come out separate, and you see one has the inverted crown, the throne, and the one has the throne. Aset wears the throne, Nephthys wears the inverted. Okay, so you got as a serpent god, the dual serpents of the what? Caduceus. Every time I do that, that's the two serpents going up the Caduceus, which represents Tahuti, and Nephthys represents the cooling. Watch this. Lunar aspect of the serpent power, while Aset represents what? The heat, the fiery aspect of it's called Seti Merti. Satimerti, Rati, Nepti, Mayatai, and it means the two daughters, goddess of righteousness and truth. Aset and Nephthys. So she is a rat. Nephthys is as goddess of what? The cooling aspect of the serpent power, serpent goddess of the cooling force. Both the cooling and the heating serpents are necessary what? In order to what? Balance life. You can't have one without the other. The balance of the two leads to what? Full expression of Asar. The soul, through the opposites of creation, heating and cooling, okay, natural and immortal. This is one of the main teachings of the serpent power, spiritual what? Disciplines. Remember, the cooling fire calms the ego and settles disputes and regulates the burning fire and vice versa. They both do their job different ways. Now, the cooling fire allows physical love. Love manifested in time and space represents that. To develop into burning spiritual love and devotion to God, the conception of the caduceus is also present in the New Kingdom temple entrance pylons and the single door, which constitutes another example of what? The Netarian caduceus concept. In the temple mysteries, where the resurrection of Asar was reenacted, you got two virgin priestesses. You hear that? Two virgins assumed the roles of who? Set and Nephet, and this ritual relived the passion and the resurrection of Asar. For more of the Aset and Nephet and their relationship of the Mayate goddesses and the Nepti goddesses, I got more for you later, but right now that's the end of this lesson. I hope you got something out of it. I go over to get you to understand Nephet immortality, aka nature. I'll be back.